All right, welcome back to the Controvert podcast. Today we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of dating an Asian. This applies to Asian men. This applies to Asian women. This applies to if you're trying to date any kind of Asian. My name is Panda, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm your co-host, Dalen. And the first thing I think of what to do when entering another Asian's household is to take off my shoes. Have you ever had someone not take off their shoes when entering your house, Panda?
Bro, I never dated like a non-Asian, so I actually don't know about that. I mean, you have more experience dating non-Asians than me. Have you had that experience?
Yeah, no. For me, like the first thing whenever they come in, some of them ask, they're like, some of them are aware. They're like, oh, like, do you want me to take off my shoes or whatnot?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah. Or like sometimes when they get in too far and they still have their shoes on, I'm like, oh shoot, you should take off your shoes. Like, can you take off your shoes over there? Or
Bro,
like,
actually, that's funny that you mentioned that because I've had some Asian girls actually. They go like, should I take off my shoes? I'm like, damn, aren't you Asian, bro?
yeah,
Don't you know the deal?
Like, don't you do this at your own house? Like, why are you asking if we should do it at my house too?
Yeah, so I mean, it's such a simple thing, but like, it just, I don't know, like, why we still need to ask that for Asians. You know, I know like some Asians, they still keep their shoes on in their own house, but that's probably because they live in like a dirty ass frat house or something. Of course, they need to have their shoes on. But another more controversial thing that I thought of actually is for Asian girls, right? When we as Asian men, when we're dating an Asian girl, we actually don't need to pay for them as much. Some men may like disagree with that, but I feel like if you actually take a mental statistic, you will find actually that you're not actually needing to pay for these Asian girls. Like a lot of them would actually go half with you if you bring it up, and they'll be chill about it, and they'll still talk to you actually. So it's just a matter of not being scared to bring it up. I feel like some Asian girls more so, you don't really see this from like white girls or black girls or Latinas or whatever. I'm just speaking on behalf of what I heard from like my Asian friends that date like outside of their race, right? I think what they don't do, like these non-Asians, they would just be like, oh, okay, you're gonna pay for me? Okay, that's fine. But Asian girls, you still will see some that go like, oh, no, it's okay, I got it, I got myself. I don't think you ever see that when like a non-Asian girl, she's getting her meal paid for, you know what I mean?
Okay, so I did go on a few dates where like this thing did come up where like I was like, oh, like, should I pay for it or should I not pay for it? And then sometimes when I pay for it, like they would still like they'll be like, oh, like, you know, I could sell you like how much.
Wait, a non-Asian girl?
Yeah, like non-Asian.
Oh, really?
And I'll be like, oh, okay, damn. Like I get taken away. I'm like, oh shoot, all right, like you're still like down to pay like half it, like deuce it and stuff. I'm like, oh shoot. You know, I have come across some Hispanics that were willing to do that. I was like, damn, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I probably just don't have enough experience with that. But I mean, I feel like Asian girls are just more timid and polite with that sense because you know when you go out with like parents, they're like fighting for the bill. They're with their friends or whatnot. Yeah. I feel like it's just so instituted within our culture that we see that growing up, and especially like Asian girls probably see that and they're like, oh, no, it's okay, I got it, I got my own shit. And then plus because like Asians are more scared of conflict, I think there's this whole hysteria of like when a man pays, he expects things, and Asian girls especially, they don't want that shit. They don't want a guy expecting
like holding like a hand, like upper hand on them or
exactly
something.
I can now have like authority over you because I paid for this meal. Because Asian girls are more submissive and they don't want any trouble. They're like, oh, just let me pay for my own shit.
This is where I see kind of like a little bit of similarities between like Hispanics and Asians, where like they are kind of like a little bit more submissive sometimes, and then like they don't really want conflict. Like I think in some Hispanic households, it's like, oh, whatever the husband or dad says, like that's word. Like you just gotta listen as a daughter, or like as a wife, you just gotta listen to. Like if he says no, you just say okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty hot take.
Yeah.
I actually don't know anything about that. I thought, you know, actually I do feel like from my Latino friends or Hispanic friends, they're all saying that like Latinas are pretty like submissive as well. So I mean, I think that is
like nurturing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Did you have like other ones that you want to talk about?
All right, so there was this one time where I was having a girl over, and then she was coming in, and then she saw my parents, but then she didn't greet them because I was like, no, you know, like,
Hey,
no,
that's
no.
funny though. Like, you know, I had some Asian girls that did that too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like what happened?
I mean, it's a very small percentage,
Uh-huh.
but I do feel like maybe like non-Asians, it's more widespread where it's like they don't really greet.
Yo,
maybe?
yeah.
I don't know.
Uh-huh. That's
So you
that's
tell
what
me
I feel
more
like
about-
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause like cause after that situation, like I had some girls where they were like, oh, like, is it disrespectful that I didn't say hi to your parents? And I was just like, oh yeah, you know, like no, it's not disrespectful because like, would it be fair to say that like, oh, they're not like relationship type, or like I'm trying to save face, you know?
Oh shit.
You know, like,
oh,
like,
okay. So
you
like
know?
like one of those like one night stand type deals.
Or like sneaky links, or like, you know
Okay.
what I mean? Like, have you ever had that situation, or like, are you more of like, oh, I'm here, like, you know, here
Okay.
for
So
relationships?
I think it's like this. If she's like a one night stand, or if she's just like a situationship, hasn't been my girlfriend, not someone I'd be serious with.
Uh-huh. And you're
I
bringing them over.
Yeah, I would avoid. I always ninja around the house.
Oh.
So I would try to avoid them, like making contact
Yeah,
with like,
but
my
what,
parents.
what if that
But-
happens? Then like,
But if they actually do,
Uh-huh.
they still say hi most of the time.
oh, okay.
But so you're saying that this was a sneaky link, and she still didn't say hi. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little bit strange. I would feel like,
No, because I told her not to say hi because I didn't want, you know, like,
oh really?
yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever done that before? Or like,
Nah, I mean, I'm just like, yeah, if you bump into them, like, just say
Uh-huh.
what's up, you know, because
Yeah.
you never know. I mean, this girl, you might be thinking that she's not the one,
uh-huh.
but then later down the road, she ends up being like someone you actually like. and
well,
you
then
wanna
why doesn't it happen later down the road that you're like, okay, now you could say hi?
because she just got caught
Oh.
when we're ninjaing. So
You're right.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you got caught, then, you know, you have to introduce, right? But then
Uh-huh.
if in your case where you guys got caught
What if
She
it's
still
like the
didn't say
first
hi.
night? That was like the first night. I'm like, oh fuck.
first night and you got caught,
Yeah.
I mean, still like,
Say hi.
yeah, say hi, you know?
Uh-huh. How about some don'ts, Panda? I hear some Asians, they don't like it when you like fetishize them or like think they're like exotic. They're like, oh shoot, you know, like they kind of feel like, I feel like Asians are a little bit more timid, or they feel a little bit like when you're too upfront, like, oh shoot, like, are you a fuckboy? You know?
Dude, it's so interesting that you mentioned that because I think the approach to get Asian girls,
Uh-huh.
if you're like an Asian guy or a non-Asian guy, whatever guy you are, it's totally different. Because if you're like saying like some kinky shit that you usually say to like a non-Asian, like, oh yeah, you're looking kind of fire today,
Yeah.
they would instantly be like, yo, is this guy a fuckboy? Like, just like commenting like how I am.
It would turn them off,
It would
right?
kind of turn them off. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be very cognizant about like how you compliment this girl.
Uh-huh.
If it's too like, oh, you're sexualizing me, like
Oh,
as if like,
yeah.
oh damn, your booty looking kind of nice or whatever. I don't know.
I think
what guys say,
yeah.
but it's totally like Asian girls are more sensitive to that shit.
They kind of take it more of a like disrespect than anything, you
Exactly,
know? Like
yeah.
they're like, oh shoot, you know, like, but if you compliment them in like, would you say like traditional way? Like the, oh, like you're beautiful, like kind of like stuff like that. They're like,
no,
oh, okay.
even you're beautiful might even like throw them off, which is
Damn.
kind of crazy. I mean, mainyu in Chinese, it means pretty girl, right?
Uh-huh.
I've told girls that you're a mainyu.
Yeah.
And then they would be like, what the hell? Like, no other Chinese guy tells me this shit.
uh-huh.
Are you a fuckboy? So that's like a very standard, polite like compliment, right?
yeah,
It's just-
yeah.
But then they would be thrown off by it. They would be like, yo, you're a fuckboy or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So you have to be very cautious how you compliment a girl.
So like flirting with them would be a whole different game than like
That's a
flirting
whole
with-
different
yeah.
game. It'd probably just be like more professional.
Uh-huh.
But
like LinkedIn professional.
you got to be careful because like if you're talking to like an Asian American girl, especially if she's an ABG,
Uh-huh.
those are the types too. I
Oh.
feel like they want the red flags. They want a guy who's just like hella just complimenting and sexualizing them and being like OnlyFans content, like, yo, like you're hot as shit, you know? And then the ones that are just like more timid and more traditional, they'd just be like, oh yeah, so how's your day? Blah, blah, blah. More like just normal bullshit, not like complimenting stuff. I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just my experience.
Another don't I come across is like, do you take it as disrespect when people are like, oh, like we make fun of Asians saying that like, oh, you eat dog or you eat cat. Like, let's go eat dog or cat together, you know?
As a girl said that to you?
No. I'm just saying, like, as guys, like, if you're trying to pick up a girl, you should not say that shit, right? Like, as a guy, you should not say, like, hey, you know, hey, mommy, trying to, like, get some dog together, or let's eat some cat tonight, you know? Like, that's a big no, right? It's a big don't.
Or are you into K-pop? Are you into anime?
Yeah.
I feel like that, dude. I was on like PUBG playing one time, right? And then I was like, we came across this Asian girl. I was queued up with like some white guys, and they're like, "Oh, this girl's Asian. Does she watch anime?" I kind of got in his face. I was like, "Yo, not all Asians watch anime. What the fuck are you talking about?"
Dude. Oh my goodness.
Just,
I
like,
hate it when people like, yeah, they're like, oh, you're
stereotyping.
Asian, you automatically watch like anime. I'm like, no, I don't even watch anime at all. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Another thing though is that I feel like for Asian men, right? I think what we look at, I know we talked a lot about like what Asian girls look at, but let's talk about like what we Asian men, what we look at. So I think, you know how there's like all this stuff surfacing around on the internet where it's like, especially like from Andrew Tate, right? He's like, oh, men don't care about how much a woman makes. But for Asian guys, I feel like we look at how ambitious a woman is. And that is actually rooted from like our parents, because I think our parents, our mothers and fathers, right? For us millennials, I think they work hard, both of them. They both work in the workforce. So we look at that and then we role model that. We want a wife who also works and has a good job. We don't want someone who works at McDonald's, right? And so I think there's this thing like that we often play from John Zerka. He's like, you guys would not date a McDonald's worker.
I can date a McDonald's worker who makes $5 an hour. I can fall in love with her. She does not have the DNA to do that ever. Would you ever marry a McDonald's worker?
Probably not.
No, there's no probably. Absolutely.
Well, at this point in my life, no.
No. At any point, you'd be like, go back to your fries. But us, if we had a cute, sweet girl that's loyal and she worked at McDonald's, I'd say, bring some nuggets, babe. I would fucking marry her in a week. Men can marry a poor McDonald's worker. Women, no matter how great he is, they can't do it.
Actually, I feel like I wouldn't date a McDonald's worker.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I feel like you're right, because I think in the Asian community, we like to save face, like, especially with our social economical background. Like, we're trying to save face. We're like, oh, like, both your parents work hard. You should find someone that's also, like, hardworking, you know, that's ambitious, you know, like, it's not like we're trying to, like, say that we're trying to marry down a level, but, like, we're trying to, like, just try to, like, you know, like,
they actually
maintain.
Asian parents, they actually like to preach date someone in your status.
Yeah.
Don't date someone outside your status. Like, don't
That's
date
what I
someone
was trying to
higher.
say,
Don't
yeah.
date someone like lower. Right.
That's what I was trying to get at. Yeah.
So I think like a do and don't for Asian dating. I mean, I think for like Asian girls or just girls in general, they would always want to date up, like equal or above. So we don't even need to talk about that shit. I think for Asian guys, they wouldn't want to date down though. That's the thing. Like they would mostly want to date like equal or above as well, or just maybe a little bit down, not like fucking crazy down level, you know?
like one McDonald's and one like what's up here, like working at like a bank or something.
Yeah, like if he's like one of those investment bankers and then she's just like working at like Burger King, that's totally fucked. I don't know if that applies to non-Asians too. I don't know if I actually see like black people doing the same thing or white people doing the same thing. You know, I mean, if you think about it, like Barack Obama is not like, he has Michelle Obama, right?
Yeah.
And then she's actually very successful. You don't see these high level guys with just like lower level girls, right?
You're right. Like you're right. Like these high level guys are either with high level girls or these good looking girls or models. You know, they're not like with anyone below their status type of thing.
Yeah, or if it's below, it's like not crazy level below, like doing like some OnlyFans content,
like
bullshit.
janitor level or something.
yeah. I mean, we're not laughing at that. You know, they're janitors. It's just
because Jeff Bezos or someone married like his maid or something, right? Or
oh, that's crazy.
I don't know if I might be spitting bullshit out, but I thought that was what I heard. Yeah,
that's crazy. You know what? Now that we're talking about this, I thought of another one, and that one is like rushing a relationship. Because like I feel like with Asian girls, you need to be more in a relationship with them to have sex with them. And especially if they're abroad too. Like I know China and Japan, if you try to have sex with them, even Malaysia, I don't know about the other ones, but if you try to have sex with them before you guys are together, like they would be like, yo, that's weird. Like, what are you? Are you like a massive playboy or something? So
the hookup culture, right? Is kind of not as prevalent.
You can't have situationships with like Asians. I think like Asian Americans, I think they are starting to become more open to that regard, and they have these situationships. Obviously, we do like with like Asians, but I think like when I date FOB girls, they're more like, oh, we can't do it because we're not together, you know. So I think like if you try to rush it with any Asian, there's more of a time constraint with Asian girls. So
you have to lock it down within a certain time period. Or
yeah,
like,
you kind of have to lock it down
relationship
before
like,
you could have sex. Or you have to make it really clear that you guys really like each other. With non-Asians, I feel like it's more just general. Casual. I feel like it's more casual that you could just have sex whenever. So not really whenever, but like, you know, it's more like, okay, yeah, we're just hooking up. For example, if you go up to an Asian girl and you go like, hey, I'm not really looking for anything serious. I'm just looking to have a good time. They'd be like, all right, peace out.
That's kind of weird because sometimes like when you hook up with a Asian or like you have to be in a relationship to hook up with the Asian, right? Like I feel like sometimes when you're in a relationship with them, like it doesn't really feel like a relationship.
It just feels like you're just there for a role.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like a duty.
Yeah.
Like you see like some of our parents, like the boomer generation, they're just together just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Just because they feel like that's the tradition. They just need to reproduce. And you don't really feel that love.
Yeah.
Bro, that's crazy because I want to talk about that in like another video. But I want to make that dedicated just for that one video. So I think anyone who's watching this, stick around. But I think we're going to wrap it up here, man. I think that was a really good stopping point because there's a lot of do's and don'ts that we just mentioned. I think if we just keep going, it's just going to keep going on forever.
Yeah.
So I feel like whoever is watching this, if you guys have things that you can think of when dating like an Asian, if you're an Asian woman dating an Asian guy, or if you're like a non-Asian dating an Asian guy, or vice versa, whatever
something
bullshit.
You certainly have to do and like you can't do, you know?
Yeah, for anyone, like if you're dating an Asian, what do you think? What do you have in mind? Like, let us know in the comments. But aside from that, I think we'll see you guys next time on Controvert Podcast. Peace out, guys.